I'll just get this out of the way. I am aware of my accent as well. I don't need you guys just staring at me, being like, where's it come from? Because that happens every show I do. The first 5 minutes, they won't let me be a person with thoughts. It's just a guessing game. They're like, is it Texas? No. Mississippi? I'm like, don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. I just tell them, Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. Every time, like, oh, you like a redneck? I'm like, absolutely not. It's highly offensive what you just said. Then they're like, you like a hillbilly? I relate. But if you meet an actual hillbilly, you have made a terrible mistake. You need to get off their property. They don't like that. That's like their only rule. Get! Oh, he said get with an I. Go, go. I get it. They also want to know, too, like, especially people that have never been to the South, fascinated, like, what's the South really like? What's it really like? I'm like, well, it's probably like 8 or 10 of the coolest cities, full of the coolest people, very just unique and just a meld of different human beings and cultures. It's amazing, and the rest of it is exactly what you've heard. But more intense than you can imagine. And then they're always like, well, what's the worst part of the South? I'm like, Alabama, before you finish that question. You guys know, all right. And they're always, every time though, they're always like, well, what about Mississippi? I'm like, that's not their fault. Historically, the worst education system in our country since the start. They don't know any better. In Alabama, they know better. They just don't give a shit. That got applause in Birmingham. It's not what I was going for. I was trying to shame them. And they were like, that's us. Yeah. Roll Tide. I know how the accent sounds. I'm aware. It sounds dumb. I get it. It's a scam. We're all running. People think we're way dumber than we actually are. It's the opposite of the British accent. Think about it. Yeah, they sound smart, but if you listen, you're like, oh, you're dumb as hell. I get it. There's certain words I shouldn't say. Makes people uncomfortable. Like, my wife is Jewish. Just saying that, people are like, hey, easy. Careful. I'm like, what? I married a Jew. People are like, I know you can't say that. Like, you can't say that. We just had a baby. I made a Jew. People are like, I gotta get out of here. He's trying to get people fired. Don't go over there. I did. I made a Jew, you guys. You can applaud. That's cool. It would have been weird if you kind of applauded and then didn't. You guys came through. I did. I didn't know growing up I could make a Jew. I didn't know. But I can, and I did. Pretty cool. What happened was my wife is Jewish, and her vagina, also Jewish. And the baby came out of there, Jew. It's science. And religion, I think. I don't understand. It's confusing. I don't ask a lot of questions. But he's got blonde hair and blue eyes. I Nazi-proof that son of a bitch. You can laugh out loud. That's a good thing I did. You guys can enjoy yourself here at the comedy show. Feel free. That joke 3 or 4 years ago was just historically funny, and then it got relevant again. I'm just saying, I did not see them making a comeback. I didn't. Fascinating. 3 or 4 years ago, people laughed and be like, oh, it's funny. Now people laugh and like, oh, it's good you did that. I get this question a lot because I sound like I do and then I say the stuff I do. How'd you get that way? It's confusing. You sound, like you sound, but the stuff you say is not from where you're from. Like, I had to evaluate it, and it's like, I think it's because my parents are pretty cool people. Like, my dad's a football coach and teacher. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I called him before he retired like a couple years ago. I was like, hey man, what do you do during the day? He's like, you need to mind your own business is what you need to do. Yes, sir, coach. My mom's an English teacher and a maniac. That's what she does. Sure, her name is Storm. Yeah, that's weird, right? I was in my 20s before I was like, that is weird. Because when you're little, you're just like, I guess everyone's mom's named after an American gladiator. That's how it is. That's Steven's mom, Laser. I lived in Seattle for a while, and they came to visit my parents. And there's a WNBA team there named the Seattle Storm. And I was like, is there anything you guys want to do while you're here? Like anything special? And my mom was like, I want to go see that Seattle Storm play. And I was like, why? She's like, because their name's, I hate you so much. Smart ass. I was like, professional smart ass. I had no interest in going in the game, and my dad was like, I like fundamental basketball. You gotta listen to him, he's kind of mean. So I got them tickets, they went to the game, they came back. My dad walked past me like nothing happened. I was like, hey mom, what's going on? How was the game? It was great, I think I might be homophobic. What happened at the game? She's like, well, they were great seats. Thank you so much. We're down close, and action started happening. We were having fun, and then there was like a timeout, and then there were a lot of lesbians there. I was like, you don't have to whisper that word. That's their preferred word. She said, okay. Well, there are a lot of, I can't not whisper it. I don't know why. I was like, okay, there are a lot of lesbians there, Mom, yeah. And she was like, yeah, and then when there's the timeout, they'd all start making out and like their tongues going everywhere. I was like, oh, I don't like this. I was like, huh. Well, if there had been a bunch of straight couples there making out during the timeout, would that have bothered you? Yes. Stop making me see your tongue in public. I don't like that. I'm like, oh, Mom, you don't like public displays of affection, PDA. You're not homophobic. And she was like, oh, thank God. It's in there. I didn't like it, but it was in there, you know? And that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is how I am the way I am. Because my neurotic mother, my whole life, has been like, have you worried about something that doesn't exist and can't happen yet? She go worry about that.